me needing to take care of myself, me having the goals to retire my mom, all of those problems needed me to set my goals accordingly. And when I was making my money, is how do I make enough to help my mom pay the hospital bills, put petrol in the car, buy groceries, and still take care of myself. So the amount of money I was making was in conjunction with my problems. So when people have less problems, you actually have less opportunities to think beyond your problems. And what we want people to understand is when you are going through a disaster, turn lemon into lemonade. Basically, the bad things are going to be a blessing. There is no light without dark. And it's the problems that I had that kept me going. It gave me a tremendous amount of energy to only rely on 3 hours of sleep a day. When I was building my business, there was a huge sacrifice of sleep. This is the stuff that isn't glorious on Instagram, right? And stuff now, because everyone just sees the glory, but they don't know the trauma behind the story, which is more important than the end result. It was the day-to-day things that I remembered during those times, driving to the gym. I couldn't afford to sleep at that time. You can't even fall asleep. You could hear your heart beating, just thinking your dad might pass away today and all of that. It was very traumatic. So I needed to go to the gym all the time, keep myself busy and not consumed in my problems, but producing a lot of value in the marketplace. And it then got me to where I am now, where if I did not have 10x the problems, I wouldn't have had to plan for 10 times the income to take care of my mom, and also getting myself to a point where now where I'm engaged, and I can also take care of more than just myself, because I proved myself even before I got to the top 1%. So now it's just more about the fundamentals that I built, with understanding that what I've got now only came from the little things that I was doing all the time. And the moment I stopped doing the things that got me here is the beginning of my dreams falling apart, because freedom comes with responsibility. Everyone wants the money, but don't understand that blessings come with a directly proportional responsibility. God wouldn't want to give you something you can't handle.
I love how you put it. This was beautiful. Well, now you overcome everything, but obviously everything is built on principles, right? What is business for you? So you've built business around the world. Like when people are busy complaining about the problems before them on how they cannot do something because of this and that, you see past that based on the information you gave me. Every problem, you've used it to fuel it as every pain. You've used it as a power to do the things that you've done, which is amazing. And every time we speak, it just gives me goosebumps on how one can radically, completely change their narrative based on decisions they make. But what is business for you?
Well, business for me, what I started realizing is I thought back then that you need to do business to get money, but you actually have to get money to do business. But in order to get money to do business is about becoming the person that is trusted, number one, for institutions, or well, I'm getting too high a depth, I think, for today's conversation.
Yeah.
But basically, with everything that I know now, is we are all told to chase money, when actually you becoming the best version of yourself and your creativity can actually become a business, where if you really master who you are, what you want to add to the world. And sometimes you don't even need a mentor for this, by the way. It's a unique giving gift that is tailored to you. We all not meant to have the same exact lives. We can have equality of opportunity, but not equality of outcome. There is no way we can all be exactly the same, have the same amount of income, but what we can all have is the exact same amount of time. 24 hours in a day. The richest man in the world that woke up at 5 o'clock today is just as wealthy as the poor person that woke up at 5 o'clock today. It is the only difference. Yes, obviously, sometimes there's luck in terms of where you are born and all of those things, but the final destination is in your control, where you end up. Because I've met people that come from poverty and got to the top, and I don't have any examples that could, in my family, besides my uncle, or many mentors to show me that I could be where I am today. But it all started with the thought process first, knowing that you can do something. But business is all about knowing who you are, number one. A lot of people, I would always, whoever's on the live, watching this show today, just try to think back to where you were when you were a child, before you were given responsibilities like going to school. What are the things that you loved doing? All of those things that you would absolutely do for free. I remember I used to play around, all of those things. I used to enjoy my freedom of time. But I then understood that when you then build your systems and all of that, you are retiring yourself from working to be able to go fund yourself, to go do the things that you've always loved doing, where adulthood took away those freedoms, and now you have to actually fight to build the systems to actually get you back to doing what you want. But obviously it comes with you adding value, becoming the version of yourself that is reliable enough to then have that freedom. If not, you will be, how do I say this? You are either in someone's plans or you're making your own plans. Yeah.
That on and by self is just amazing. So, in a nutshell, what you just said is that you just have to solve a problem. You have to add value somewhere. For the amount of value you add, you earn. If you add a small value, you earn small. If you add a bigger value, you earn big. If that is the case, next question, which is extremely important to me and to everyone else watching, is that now we're saying, based on how much value you provide the marketplace, it rewards you, right? That's the premises.
Yeah.
That's what we're saying. Irrespective of the industry you are in, based on how big of a problem you can solve or how much value you can add, the reciprocal of it is the same. Small value you add, you earn small. Big value you add, you earn big. If that's the premises, and someone knows if they could get 10 times better, if it gives them. So the first investment is us. That's what we're saying, right?
Amen.
So you are the first investment. You are the business yourself. If you are to sell product, if you are to sell service, if you are to provide what people need or what people want, or if you're to solve a problem as a professional or talented person, you are the asset. You are the marketplace, and you are the business. In that sense, so this is the question I was asked about, I don't know how many more years, 7 years, 9 years ago. And it reads, if you knew your reinvestment yourself would give you a 10 times return, how much would you have invested on yourself? What, in a nutshell, what it says is that, what is personal development for you? Why would you develop yourself on the premises of what we just discussed? How much do you invest on yourself based on how much you earn now? Obviously, this will transcend into more questions.
Whew. What a question. I love this question because I always reverse engineer. You know, when I look at how I spent my 20s and when I achieved my goals, everything was almost to the T, almost like 100%. But there's always going to be opportunities that were missed during certain periods because of a lack of awareness or a lack of personal development or a lack of risk. So there were times where I wish I had self-developed myself a lot sooner to be aware of opportunities that presented themselves years before I had the money to invest in them, and I did not invest in those opportunities at that time because of a lack of awareness. But I understood the power of those investments. So when I look at some investments that I could have made financially, I missed out on opportunities where I would have even 10 times what I've got right now if I had just knew what is the purpose of money. Number one, money is a tool. Freedom is the goal. Money is like energy as well. Wherever you put it, you're either putting it into something that's going to bring more money back, or you're putting it in something that's going to take it away. So, you know, when we are new to money, we have lifestyle inflation. We buy the cars, we buy all the designers, all of those things. So luckily, I got all those things out of my system in my 20s, which is the best time to get it out your system, because I thought the Gucci's and all of those things were going to make me happy. And for me personally, I just love wearing, my favorite sneakers is All Stars, Chucks, right? It's always been my basics, shorts and a nice t-shirt. And obviously you dress formally for the occasion. but understanding that how much money I could have been investing. I mean, when my first two cars I financed. And when I look at how much money I was paying in installments, because the money needed to be debited from my account from how much my business was making. And I was just asking myself, what if I just held myself accountable to invest this money in something that could bring me more money? I don't care what it is. There's different ways where you can make money, but put it into an asset instead of a liability. And when I extrapolated out, I'm like, 7 years later, this is how much money went straight to the bank, which is obviously in the millions now. And there could have been an investment where the money could have been 10 times more if I had just put the money there. And it did not that the amounts needed to be huge, but just the importance of understanding that every single month where you get paid, you invest before you spend. Don't spend before you invest. Rich people invest before they spend. Poor people spend and invest what is left. So it's not the amount, it's what you do with what you have. So what I'm saying is, when the amounts were still a lot smaller in my business, I should have invested still a percentage, not wait for the amounts to be big, then start investing, because you need to build the habit of investing in the first place, even if you see the opportunities. So that's kind of like how I've transitioned my mindset now, where automated payments that would have went to cars go into investments now, and knowing that it's going to mature one day, while I can still live off of just a small percentage of my business income. The rest is in investments, taxes, all of those things, etc. But to answer your short question, basically in a nutshell, is personal development is extremely important. I would have invested everything in myself had I had known. Everything. Not in the things that I thought were going to make things better. I would have invested everything in myself, because no one has actually died from being broke. So all the things that I actually thought, I'm going to be broke if I put my money in, all of that.
Wait, say that again.
I would have been, yeah. Just,
ooh, that's painful, bro.
Yeah.
That is painful.
Yeah.
No one has actually died from being broke.
No one has actually died from being broke. So yeah, most people are so scared of what happens if... because most people actually sacrifice their destiny to portray an image, while their image is the sacrifice of their destiny, while I would rather sacrifice my image for my destiny. Why look cool now and act like I've got my life in order, and I end up spending a lot of money to maintain that image, where maintaining that image is actually a liability, where now you can just ground yourself, go back to the basics, and act as if no one knew you before they knew you. They only knew you once you've overcome. So just get back into that thinking again, because sometimes you have to sacrifice a good life for a great life, and when you get a great life, you have to sacrifice your great life for the abundant life. So when you get to the point where you are a 1%er, your job is to become a 0.1%er. But the price you have to pay to become a 0.1%er is you sacrificing your fancy lifestyle, which is your millionaire lifestyle, to get to the next level, basically. So most people don't realize you have to sacrifice who you are for who you're supposed to be, and there's certain things that you're holding on to now that are not good enough for your next version.
Oh, man, this is crazy. I don't know if we just dive to the rock bottom. I feel like we've left something in between, because now we're talking in a higher vibration.
Yeah.
But the whole message is that we connect with everyone watching.
Yeah.
And I want to take you a step back, bro. I want you. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a step back. All right? When Junior starts to earn money that he is not in a conversation with people around him, or his peers, what went through his mind first? He made, like you said, you just briefly gave me about, buying fancy cars and whatnot. But if you were in your late 20s or in your 20s, okay, people watching this in their 20s, and the world is in this message of buying this brand and buying the look and buying the feel, and not really helping us to invest on ourselves. Where would I start now? So considering the mistakes he made, and if you were to start right now on making that personal development, where would you start? What book would you read? Who would you look you up to? What platforms would you follow? What YouTube channel would you follow? Because obviously the information is out there. As the saying goes, when the student is ready, the teacher will arrive.
100%. Amen.
So for someone really like so suffocated in the sense that they want to get past this impulsive, immediate gratification needs into basically understanding how their earning could actually give them 3 times more in return if they are disciplined. But where would they start? Where would you advise them to start?
With the people that I started watching in the first place. So obviously I got into my business, and it's not my business model that made me. It's the mentors that I met that gave me the right tools to make my business be a reflection of the advice that I took of theirs and my own effort to get me to be the odd person in the industry, because my mentor was a gazillion times ahead of even the people in the industry that I'm in. So not being capped by just even the top people in your industry, knowing that your actual mentor is a billionaire, and he understands that millions is nothing compared to billions. So you need someone that's going to shorten the learning curve for the next decade. I already understood from Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, what he uses or how he came across the industry that I'm in. But understanding the cash flow quadrant, I think everyone should read Robert Kiyosaki Cash Flow Quadrant, Rich Dad Poor Dad. Obviously, he doesn't get into too much depth, but I'm saying, like, in your 20s, this are kind of like the books that you need to understand in the first place. Because when I understood why I'm building my business, I'm building a cash cow to fund my investments. I need to become a top 1%er so that I can invest in other things that are going to amplify my business as well. It was always about understanding that build a business that's going to get you to a point where one day, I mean, I'm even speaking about what's going to happen within the next 10 years with everything that I know now from the mistakes I've made. With some of the money that I'm going to put aside, there's going to be an opportunity that's going to present itself only to the people that have the money to deploy at a certain time. And those people are the ones that are going to have quantum leaps in their wealth, because they are going to be buying things that are going to free up a lot of their time from the things that they need to do now that makes them the money. But the wealth will be there, but we all need to prepare. So I understand even now, I'm setting up my business now where, like you said, regardless of the circumstances or where everyone is right now, we met obviously through the industry that we're in, but we're connected through technology now. So you are all the way in the UK, I'm all the way in South Africa. You are live on your platform, I'm also live on Instagram, connecting with people that some of them I've never even met, but we've met on this digital blueprint. So when I understand that the world is becoming like one, the world is like I call the world a country now. We all live in one world, obviously, and eventually we'll be all using basically one currency eventually. And at that time, just be at that world standard, not your local standard. Because when you are in the top 1% of the world standard, it's a very different leap of wealth as just being the top of your country. That's why, for example, now when people ask me if I'm a multi-millionaire, I'm like, only in my currency, but I'm very well aware that when I come visit you next month, it's not the same thing, because the currencies are not the exact same. And that's why, for example, now with everything that I know now, Grant Cardone, Robert Kiyosaki, and then just from a spiritual component, I'm not going to give anyone a spiritual mentor. Actually, I'm just going to speak about business. Yeah, Grant Cardone, and Robert Kiyosaki, simply because Grant Cardone also started from nothing and he became a billionaire. And not that other billionaires that were billionaires were lucky per se, but a lot of billionaires say I did become a billionaire because of luck as well, because there's situational luck, network luck, character luck, which is actually in your control who you become. All these things kind of like align you. So I already knew, okay, I need to work on my character. I need to work on my show, because if I did not work on myself, I would have not met Robert Kiyosaki in the first place. So it's who I worked on being to get myself to be lucky enough to meet my virtual mentor face to face, just to give me more validation. And everything I learned at that seminar made me realize how I actually need to go 10 times harder on international expansion, not local expansion, which I dominated in the last 7 years.
As the saying goes, luck is only for the prepared mind.
Amen.
You get luckier. The more prepared you are, the more you work on yourself, the luckier you get in the industry that you work on yourself. Whatever you work on, you become better.
Amen.
If you work on complaining, you be a master on that. If you work on solving a problem, you be a master on that. This is one thing we're missing. Often people are stuck on just truly focusing on what they see before them. And we've been told not to go by sight. You know, sight, what you see before you is an illusion. Oftentimes, you got to close your eyes and see with your mind. You've got to get deeper. Obviously, I don't want to get this mingled with spirituality. But one last question before we finish, though. Once you start to talk about a higher vibration, about earning, so as a millionaire in your country, when you start to speak about being a billionaire, or when you start to have a different conversation, how do you handle being ridiculed? Because in my case, though I am trained as a senior pharmacist, as a doctor, I am trained to earn more by simply, like you said earlier, providing more. By adding more value, I earn more. But we've got this problem that, you only work for money. And this is a conversation we hear even from people, you would expect them to understand what the law of compensation is.
Yeah.
For every value you provide, you earn more. Now, do you experience this when you start to shift your magnitude of earning and your aspiration on becoming a billionaire? Do you feel this resistance around like people talking about you only talk about money? You seem to have no other vision. I find it very complex to address. If you had that problem, how did you handle this mismatch in a conversation that I am driven to be wealthy? I don't negotiate on this matter. I want to be wealthy, not only rich. I want to be wealthy. Hence, I work so hard on becoming a better version to provide more value. But this doesn't always transcend well. It pretty much is a condescending message to people who are not prepared to do the work. Like you said, they're not lucky purely because they're not prepared. But if you say this, if you put it bluntly as it stands, it becomes more as though you've been dismissive, unconsiderate of circumstances, and not fully understanding life dynamics. But that's not the case, is it? So if you ever come across situations where, in this timeline, like you just said, I want to be a billionaire.
Yeah.
How does that sort of resonate with others? Have you had rejections on that narrative, on conversation?
Let me first start with, firstly, the goal was to become a millionaire first. So with the lessons that I've seen or I've experienced, just me being very confident about getting to the top 1% is, when you're not there, I think people, because they probably don't think you're actually going to get there, they will support you. But my foundation of building my brand and business, I already started speaking about what most people are uncomfortable about, which is money. So I got my following used to speaking about the most uncomfortable things. And I think that makes me very unique, because I've got a very unique blueprint where a lot of people have tried to say the things that I say on social media, and it's not taken upon well when they say it, because they have not gotten the results to back up what they are saying. So they think if they copy what I'm saying, they're actually going to get the same results. But you have to experience what I've experienced. You have to overcome what I've overcome. You have to develop what I've developed. You can only develop what you've worked on. And I can substantiate why I want certain things to happen, because the things that I said I was going to achieve, I achieved through time, deadlines, and all of those things. But what tends to happen is when you do achieve your goals, you end up exposing the people that were watching you make things happen while they could have joined you. And eventually there's a bit of jealousy and envy that kind of like starts showing around the exact same people that were supporting you on your way up. And then now it's like, okay, the next goal is to become a billionaire. And then now this is like, who do I have these conversations with about becoming a billionaire? It becomes really uncomfortable, because as you want to become more valuable, your circle becomes a lot smaller. And because you already know that I want to become a billionaire, I find it quite ironic that I actually met you now as well, because I have to upgrade my network. I have to upgrade my community and all of that. So because now I'm thinking globally, I have to build relationships with people around the world. So now I've met all the other people that are in the top 1% all around the world in our industry, from a networking perspective, from improving our own infrastructure, but learning from other billionaires outside of our vehicle that give us added tools to enhance our industry, but use the finances that we earn from our industry to invest into things that add more income, to kind of like compound into becoming a billionaire. So it's something that is very hard to share with people, especially of our color, if I could say that. As well, it's very uncomfortable speaking about billions. People say, or you speak about as money and all of that, but they don't realize that it's who you need to become that's more valuable than the money. Because once you've made your first million, the second one is inevitable, you know, and you make it a lot easier because you've developed skills that make your income quicker. So what most people don't realize is the skills, who you become, the amount of value you're adding, and all of those things. So speaking about this billionaire thing, I don't speak about billions unless I'm speaking to you and a couple of people, and my fiance as well, and then Robert Kiyosaki. But that is the next phase now.
Well, now it's been an insightful entry into our series. So in episode 1, we've touched the base and the foundation, and the next one is that if someone is to get started, he doesn't have the hundreds, he doesn't have the thousands, and if he's to think on that mindset, because we're not there yet, but we're not there in numbers in a paper, but we're there in vision and sort of planning and taking action. But I love the last part that you said. It's not the amount of money in the cards or in the bank, it is the skill set that allows you to bring that amount of money. Now, who do you look up to then make them skill sets that would allow you to print money? Because like you said earlier, the goal isn't the money, the goal is what the money can do, the freedom of time. So on the next episode, I wish to touch base with you again on who do you look up to, who are your mentors, and how do you execute the message that you get or the training that you get.
Yep.
Do you have a coach? If you have a coach, how is he different from your mentor? And how often do you communicate with your mentor? And again, what is your action plan into execution? Because we're going to get to the heart of it. So if anyone falls behind after hearing that conversation, then really they're just failing at the very early step of setting a vision, not just execution. The rest of them comes discipline, follows on having a vision and a target to achieve, commitment, needs direction and where you want to go, consistency is a matrix used to then narrow the gap between the two points. So on our next episode, God willing, we'll be touching the base of what a coach is, what a mentor is, and how do you set the goal, and how do the discipline, commitment, and consistency come between them two dots, a starting point and the bigger vision. Junior, you've been incredible. Always exceeding expectation, and I hope people watching this from your platform and later on when we create the reels get to really check you. I will tag you on the things that we do, and they get to check your track record and get to see who is this guy out of nowhere coming speaking in English and a Tigrinya speaking community. You've been a blessing since our friendship started, and I look forward for more collaboration. And thank you for helping me advance my business in South Africa. You're amazing. Thank you.
No, I appreciate you too. I'll be seeing you in the UK next month as well, and I can't wait to be answering the next few questions on our next episode.
I cannot wait to see you next episode, but also in the UK. Bye for now.
All right, thank you.
Okay, that was brilliant, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Wait. I think for a start, and without a script, I think people would love the authenticity. I could have made it more scripted in the flow of questions, but I just want to make it more natural, so
more natural,
connect with people. And I think
let me end my live stream first, then we can talk yeah, if you guys really enjoyed the live stream, just send feedback in the DMs. More cool stuff is loading soon. Those of you guys that want to learn how to build a business or want a coach or a mentor that has already got a track record, got the systems in place, you just need to be coachable, apply yourself, and you can shorten the learning curve of some of the things that we learned the hard way. We've got much more advanced systems to help you level up. If you want to escape your current circumstances and get to the next level, just hit the DM. I'll send you the link and I will put you on an online presentation where you can see what we do. Other than that, peace out, guys. Appreciate all of you guys. If you guys got any nuggets, just mention me on Instagram. I will repost it. Any quotes that you guys found inspiring, and they're asking when is the next episode. We loading, but it's going to be live from the UK.
Live on Saturdays, 2 p.m. UK time. But this will be chopped into small segments.
Yeah,
the key points,
it's a series that we're doing.
Available almost every day, at least 2-3 segments, because it's an hour segment.
Yeah.
You will have the key points generated by AI. Well, I mean, like the key points will be identified and they'll be shared. But every Saturday for the next few weeks, we'll get to the bottom of it. And obviously, you can't see me, but I hope you get to see this giant. You are in safe hands. He's a giant living testimony of what it's like to have a vision and follow it with discipline, consistency, and commitment.
Perfect. So, guys, the series is starting, so there's plenty of content coming. And next time I will be giving you guys notice. I will be going live on YouTube as well, going live, all of those things. You'll be seeing everything live, so you will be notified. I will make sure that you guys are aware. It's the comeback to the YouTube channel, but with a lot more value, not